Good afternoon, 2015 Pittsburgh Penguins Elite Nana Visa hockey fans. Thanks for joining us here on Pens Elite TV, Cine TV, PGH for game number 1 of the Detroit Showcase. Coming to you live from the Little Caesars Arena, the Belfour Training Center, where we will see the team that has traded sunshine for freezing weather here in Detroit, the Florida Surf, come north to take on the Pittsburgh Penguins Elite wearing their home whites today. And 1:40 on the countdown clock. We're set to begin. The Pens will be back in action later this evening to take on the Chicago Fury for the third time this year, as well as a Detroit Pistons matchup right next door at Little Caesars Arena in the Detroit Red Wings complex. But game number 1 coming up next between the Florida Surf and your 2015 Pittsburgh Penguins Elite. Final preparations underway. 10 seconds to go on the countdown clock as the Pens Elite join together as a team in their blue paint. Florida Surf getting the pucks together as well on the other end of the ice. It's been a busy January for the Pens Elite as we find ourselves here in Michigan for the 3rd consecutive weekend of gameplay. Many of the boys were here early, got to take in the first period of the Lovell-Chicago Fury matchup, which ended in a Lovell victory. As the boys get final instructions from Coach Toby Nenavisa. We'll await the starting lineups here and the starting goaltender. 14 minutes on the first period. Scoreboard here from the Belfour Training Center in Detroit, Michigan. The Detroit Red Wings Stanley Cup champions banners hanging on the other side of the ice. And the Detroit Red Wings logo emblazoned on the wall. So we're set to begin here. Game number 1 of the Detroit Showcase. Set to begin. Starting in net will be number 29, Max Dragicic. Up front for the Pens Elite, 93, Riker Ferguson. Good to see him healthy after taking a slap shot off the inside of the knee at the last matchup against Top Gun. On the left wing, number 4, Mason Fritchie. On the right side, number 19, Bingham Green. Backside, Welch and Fritchie. We're set to begin here. Game number 1 from the Detroit Showcase. Puck is dropped here. Ferguson wins it back to Mason Fritchie. Fritchie's going to curl around and dump it in, but that's stopped up at the blue line where Brady Fritchie drops it right back in. Slightly ahead of the play, though, was his brother, number 4, Mason Fritchie. Neutral zone face-off. 8 seconds tick off the clock. 13:52 to go. And we find ourselves at center ice once again to do it all over. Landrum steps in against Ferguson. Ferguson wins it back to Welch. Welch goes D-to-D over to Brady Fritchie. A little bit too hot to handle. Puts it up off the wall. Thrown right back to the stick of Brady Fritchie, who contests with Landrum on the wall. It's one back to Ferguson. Ferguson over to Welch. Welch up to Mason Fritchie. That's stepped up to by 25 Hobbs. As Boutros kicks it to Ferguson. Ferguson finds that puck. He's got Mason Fritchie ahead of the play. Ferguson's going to lead the rush in, knocked off by a back checker. That was Landrum. Following on was 19, Bingham Green, shot over the cage. 13:22 to go in the first period. Mason Fritchie has it on the wall. Throws it back behind the net. 77 pushes along further with Bingham Green. On to contest as he ties up his man on the wall. Penn's able to make a change to a few of their skaters. One of them, number 74, Easton Borman, throws it to open ice to Grant Loya. Loya taps it to Wilson. Wilson Centering pass for Borman. Borman walks behind the cage now. He circles back, surveys his options. He's got Stark at the point, decides to bring it down low. Wilson throws it out for Davis, goes off of a body. Nico Stark with a long shot gets picked off by 77, who headmans out to Boutros. Boutros is going to come in 1-on-3. Good back check by Easton Borman to create the turnover, as it's pushed along by Colt Davis. Wilson joins the battle on the wall. It's thrown back to center. Borman back to Nico Stark. Stark to Loya. Loya makes one man miss, loses the puck though. Over to get it is Colt Davis. Wilson tries to finesse move around a man. Goes off the wall to the stick blade of Grant Loya. Loya to open space to Borman. Borman shot, misses the net. Loya's able to hold the zone and slaps it back down behind the cage as the Pens change up the personnel once again. Thrown up now on the half wall. Brady Fritchie pinches down. Gets it to the stick of Davis. Now Ferguson tries to keep in the zone. It's poked out the center. 8 tries to go through the skates of Fritchie. Shuts that down. As we're in front of the Florida bench, Riker Ferguson walks out into space. Has it at the top of the zone. Unable to get through to Gaworski. As finding it now is Ferguson. Rolls off of his stick blade. Landrum, he's got some wheels as he's trying to get around Brady Fritchie. Fritchie knocks off of his stick blade. Now Boutros, back check by 93. Riker Ferguson knocked him off the puck. Boutros finds this puck. Tries a centering pass that's broken up by 77. CJ Nenevisa. Nenevisa up to Ferguson now. Ferguson surveys the scene. He's late in the shift, dumps it, and goes for a change. Blake Parris on the forecheck with 11:25 to go in the first period. Parris picked it up behind the cage, calling for that puck was number 4 Mason Fritchie. A little bit behind him though. It's going to create a 2-on-2. But peeling off was Boutros to go for a line change. Instead, this is a transition here for the Penguins, says Mason Fritchie. Loses an edge, takes out Florida Surf player. They both go down. As Bingham Green able to get to that puck on the forecheck. Fritchie has it behind the cage. Centers it for Green. Comes all the way through to Nick Jennings. Nick Jennings shoots and scores! Big gulp, Todd. See you later. 3 minutes into the game, number 13 cashes in. Off the centering pass from number 4, Mason Fritchie goes off the stick blade of Bingham Green. And Nick Jennings, cha-ching, puts it in the back of the net for the 1-0 lead. Now it's one back to Welch. Welch pokes it forward. And the Surf, looking for the equalizer, goes off the right skate of Welch. He has to be on his horse behind the net. Bumps it along. Fans on this. As coming out the other side now is Mason Fritchie. Fritchie gets it up to the goal scorer, Nick Jennings. Gets his second shot here. Long shot is going to turn to go to the bench. Pens get a change here with 1-0 lead. 10:30 to go in the first period. Where Grant Loya goes back to retrieve the puck. Loya now on his backhand. Gets the motor going. Makes a couple guys miss. He's got a head of steam here. He's got a man back door. It's Easton Borman. Looks for him. Just rolls off the stick blade of Easton Borman. Good play there to drive the zone by Grant Loya and by number 74, Easton Borman, to drive the cage. As 16, Landrum, he's going to try Loya now. Stays to the outside, floats it through, tipped in off the stick of Boutros, but into the catching mitt, number 29, Max Dragosic, and we'll stop here for a D-zone draw with 10:02 to go in the first period. Thanks for joining us here, Pens Elite TV. Pens with a 1-0 lead early in the first period from the Little Caesars Arena. Off the stick blade of number 13, Nick Jennings. Gets the assist from Mason Fritchie. It's Easton Borman coming in 1-on-2. Knocked off to the corner by number 25, defending. Borman pulled down, but is able to get back to his feet with puck possession as he's thrown down again. Defender without a stick, 25. As he left it behind the cage, he goes and collects. But looking for this puck is Grant Loya. Now controls. Loya winds it back into his own zone. Reverses with Brady Fritchie. Fritchie enters the zone, looking for a trailer right now. Protects behind the cage, circles back. He's tied up. Try to feather it through 71's legs. Now comes out where it's chipped behind, 2-on-1, where Welch is going to try to get to this puck, and he throws it into space. Wilson to Welch. Welch surveys the scene, goes up to Davis. Davis and Parris enter the offensive zone. Davis cuts middle. He's got a man going with him. It's Ferguson. Tries to feather it through back to Parris on the give and go. As the Surf tries to come back out, they're stuffed up in the neutral zone again. Brooks Gaworski in front of that Penguins bench digging for it. Blake Parris pushes it in the offensive zone. of the Pens, where Grant Loya stays on. He's got Gaworski driving the net, tries to hit Gaworski just inches in front of his stick blade as Gaworski crashes in to the end wall. Stark dumps it in, didn't see Gaworski in there. So it'll be an offsides play. They're going to bring it back for an intentional offsides all the way back into the Pens D zone with 8:32 to go in the first period. 1-0 the score. Rewinding back about a minute and a half earlier, Boutros drove the net with a pretty deflection, but up to the task was the man between the pipes, number 29. And we're off to his left side right now as Riker Ferguson steps in for the draw. Off the stick blade of Paris, back to the point man, 48. Now on the far side on the half wall, it's picked off by number 93, Riker Ferguson, the centerman. Boutros tries to put in a space, but Nico Stark finds it, moves it to his D partner, Loya. Loya up to Gaworski. Gaworski to Ferguson. Ferguson makes a man miss. He's got Paris now going with him. Ferguson curls around everybody. Tries to put it up over the shoulder of the netminder, but it comes through the crease out to the other side. Here on the near wall, Gaworski battles with Landrum. Up to Boutros, give and go move. Mason Fritchie there reads that, comes off the bench. Just had one more man to make miss. Now it's Nick Jennings at the blue line of the offensive zone. Comes back to number 9, Brady Fritchie. Fritchie dances right around 48. Fritchie goes to his brother. Pretty give and go attempt there, pass attempt there, but that's read by the netminder off the stick of Mason Fritchie. Good back check here. Great shift by number 9, Brady Fritchie. Does come over to his brother. Wheels it behind the cage, right back to Brady. Bingham Green at the top of the zone sees this. Taken over by the Florida Surf, and they dump it in deep where Brady Fritchie goes to retrieve it. 7:15, halfway point of the first period. Pens with a 1-0 lead. Nick Jennings now on the half wall. Ties up his man, leaves it for Mason Fritchie. Fritchie tries to hit behind Dragosic. Now up to Bingham Green, number 19. Rolls off of his stick blade. Back into the offensive zone of the Surf, but ahead of the play. Offsides is the call. Neutral zone faceoff coming up far side in front of the penalty box, right underneath the Detroit Red Wings championship banners. With the last one of those hanging, the 07-08 squad, which saw them raise the cup in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Game 6 from the old Civic Arena, Mellon Arena. But it's the Florida Surf now looking to capitalize. Lost glove on the ground as 8. Now it comes to Noah Welch. He's going to peel off of his man, bumps it over to Wilson. Wilson tries to give and go with Davis. It's in his skates, though. Wilson has to come over to try to dig for this puck. Welch and Stark switch spots here. Stark bumps it behind the cage where Welch comes back for it. Puts it off the wall into space for number 74, Easton Borman. Transitions, but it's off a stick blade in front of the Penguins bench. We're coming right back in is 18. Good play by Nico Stark to knock it to the wall. Loses an edge, though, where the Surf's going to come and try short side, and they put it in back door as the rebound kicks out in front. Dragosic made this first save, and Florida gets the equalizer here with 6:18 to go in the first period. As cashing in on the rebound was number 18. Neutral zone face-off just outside of the Florida zone. Ferguson steps in for this draw. Where it comes back to 43, Grant Loya. Loya up to Riker Ferguson. Pence looking to get the momentum right back. Is going down was the Florida Surf player because all the way back out to Nenevisa. Nenevisa shoots it off the boot of number 88, Boutros. Centering pass. Doesn't get through to Loya. Now Loya steals the puck. Loya snaps it in. The right pad save by the netminder. As a headman pass for 7 is read by Loya. Now over to Nenevisa. Back into the defensive zone. 48 goes back for it. And he winds it behind the cage. Off the wall, playing this at the point is Brady Fritchie. Finds that puck, puts it right back into the half wall. And number 4, Mason Fritchie picks it up. Fritchie snaps it in off the glove. As Jennings tries to get to that puck, comes all the way back to number 9, Brady Fritchie. Fritchie over to Welch. Welch is going to skate this now. He's going to skate this into the offensive zone where Bingham Green picks it up. Brady Fritchie now has it. Trying to stick handle in a phone booth. Welch falls down. Where Brady Fritchie has to get back on the back check. And an offsides call. Fritchie steps in for the faceoff. He's going to win it back off the stick of Welch. He has to dig this out. It's in between his skates. Welch now behind the cage. Lets it go all the way through to number 13, Nick Jennings. Jennings up to Mason Fritchie. Fritchie, power move, snaps it in. Goes 5-hole for number 4. Finds the daylight between the pillows of the Surf netminder. Mason Fritchie cashes in to get the goal lead back for the Pens. 2-1's the score, 4:37 the time on the clock. From number 4, Mason Fritchie. Colt Davis, Connor Wilson, Easton Borman, Nico Stark, Grant Loya on for the Pens. 1 forward to number 11, Colt Davis. Comes all the way through the top of the circle. Loya floats it through, doesn't get through to Davis. Picking this off in the air is Easton Borman. Borman snaps it over the bar. Now it's rolling up on the dasher board. Comes high to Grant Loya. Loya goes D-to-D to Stark. Stark snaps it off the stick of Boutros in the shooting lane. Wilson goes down. As 88 Boutros tries to work around Stark. Good stick by Nico to get into last second. It's shut down by Dragicic. 4 minutes to play in the first period, 2-1. Connor Wilson in flight. He's got a man going with him. It's 11. Colt Davis. Wilson decides to shoot it wide of the net. Davis follows on, trying to snap it towards the cage. Landrum will poke it in. He goes for a change. Or number 9, Brady Fritchie retreats with 3:36 to go in the first period. Here from the Belfour Training Center at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. It's in the skates of the officials. The Surf find this, but they throw it to the stick blade of Nenevisa. Nenevisa tries to move it to Paris, a little bit ahead of him. Ferguson controls in front of the Penguins bench. It's Blake Paris. Paris bumps it to Nenevisa. Nenevisa shows some patience. He's going to skate it out of his own zone, where it's held up in front of the Penguins bench. Finding this is number 48 for the Surf. Where it's snapped off the shin guard by number 28, right into the shin guard of Brady Fritchie. Now on the backside of Riker Ferguson. 2 shot blocks there for the Pens lead. Brooks Gaworski. He's got a trailer in Ferguson. Gaworski, he snaps it in. Right pad save by the Surf. Where it's floated out to the half wall, where 28 tries to push it ahead and does. Off the bench though, Mason Fritchie pokes it to 25. Surf comes in, good back check by Mason Fritchie. Fritchie to Fritchie right now. Fritchie gains the zone, comes in on sides. Off the right pad with the pass off the pads where Jennings follows on. Goes off the stick blade back to Mason Fritchie as he retreats in his own zone. Floats it with the saucer pass to number 13, Nick Jennings, who's on the pursuit right now against 77. Half wall. Mason Fritchie crashes into a man. Comes all the way through to Landrum. Is going to try Welch. Welch is going to try to force him to the outside. Snap through the crease area. As Nick Jennings tries to get it out of the zone, held in by 48. And retreating back is Stark. Stark bumps it to Welch. Welch snaps it up quickly to Bingham Green. He's got Mason Fritchie in front, just ahead of the play was the puck. And on the back check, Barron, number 71, gets back where Welch comes over to play the puck. Welch puts it up off the dasher, try to hit Bingham Green with it. As there's a puck battle now. Finding this puck is Connor Wilson, 1-on-2 though, with the back checker. That's going to cancel him out as it's knocked off of his stick blade. Pens are changed behind the play. Wilson finds this puck to the stick blade of the netminder. Pens have control. Here with 1 minute left in the first period. Floated from Borman to Nenevisa. Nenevisa walks in looking for a deflection. Nobody home. It goes behind the net. Borman throws it right behind the cage where Wilson controls. Wilson sees the puck go over to the Florida Surf with 45 to play. Thrown all the way down the ice. Icing is going to be waved off here as it slows down as Nenevisa tries to get a Loya. Loya right back to Nenevisa with 33 now to play. Headman pass for Colt Davis. Davis had a streaking Borman. Now that's picked up by Wilson. He's got Borman going with him. Wilson to the outside. Wilson snaps it off the outside of the cage. Wilson to Loya, top of the zone. 19 to play. Snapped in, deflected off the stick blade of Borman into the catching glove. Quality save there by the Florida Surf netminder to keep this a 2-1 game with 15.8 to play in the first. As the Pens change up the offensive personnel. Ferguson, he's on for the draw. Paris, Skoworski, Welch, and Brady Fritchie complete the 5-man unit with 15.8 to go. Ferguson wins it back to Gaworski. Snapped into the glove of the netminder. We'll reset here again to the left side. Off the clean face-off win from Fergie to Brooksy. 12.6 to go in the first. Now let's push to the wall by Landrum, where the Surf retreat back behind their own cage with 8 to go. As they're going to try and hit Landrum behind the play. Shot softly to the wall. Welch is going to get to that puck. That'll be it. At the end of one, the Pens lead 2-1 over the Florida Surf. Goals from number 4, Mason Fritchie, and number 13, Nick Jennings. Quality saves both sides, but both netminders with active gloves finding pucks from tips. We'll be back with period number 2 action from the Belfour Training Center in the Little Caesars Arena in just a moment. Thanks for tuning in here on this afternoon matchup between the 2015 Florida Surf and your 2015 Pittsburgh Penguins Elite. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on the Pens Elite TV to catch all the action, not just from the 2015 birth years, but several other birth years at Streve on the channel. But period 2 set to begin. Riker Ferguson on for the draw. Wins it back to number 9, Brady Fritchie. Steps around his man, number 8. Throws it in. It's in the midsection of 77. Ferguson into traffic as it's thrown deep by number 8. Icing should be the call. It is the call. 13 seconds tick off the second period clock. Offensive zone faceoff. 13:47 to go. We'll be to the left side of the Florida Surf netminder. Pens will stick with the same personnel. Surf will change up their units. Paris can test this behind the cage. As Gaworski back checks on Boutros. Goes off the stick of Ferguson all the way through to Brady Fritchie. Snapped in on net. Looking for a deflection was Paris. Now into the stick blade of Riker Ferguson. Ferguson peels back. Goes into a soft spot. Riker Ferguson finds daylight. as catching that in the big left-handed mitt as the Surf netminder. Two big saves on that sequence. The initial pad save from Brady Fritchie, and then Fergie's snapshot. That's 36 seconds expired here in the second period. 13:24. Grant Loya sees this go to his defensive partner, number 7, Nico Stark. Winds it right back in deep. But the Surf has to go back behind their own cage. Jennings on the forecheck. It's now at the top of the circle. It's Grant Loya. Loya skating behind the cage. Tries to go high to Stark. He goes off the boot of Boutros. Boutros chips it around Stark. As Bingham Green hustles back at a man back door. Shooting that puck is Boutros with the laser. It goes off the post. On the left side of Max Dragicic, thrown in by 71. Offsides is the call. Neutral zone faceoff coming up with 12:42. As 88 generates the offensive zone chance for the Florida Surf. Pens change up the personnel. Connor Wilson on for the draw here near side in front of the Florida Surf bench, joined by Davis and Borman. Borman loses an edge and falls down. Nenevisa gets a stick to poke it up to Davis. Davis sees that knocked off of his stick blade. As the Surf come in, centering pass for 28. Now it's Connor Wilson. He's got a back checker and 8. Wilson drives right by him. Wilson takes it wide, snapped in through the crease, looking for a deflection in, comes all the way through to Nenevisa. Nenevisa up off the wall, behind the cage to Davis. Davis peels around one guy, rolls off of his stick blade. Boutros pokes it, 28 pokes it, goes to the stick blade of Wilson. Wilson looked for Davis, doesn't connect. Now it's number 11, Colt Davis, he's run into. Puck still low in the Florida Surf zone as now on the half wall. Fritchie pokes it forward, it's in the skates of Davis. Borman on the back check trying to get to this puck. As Colt Davis is going to bring it right back into the offensive zone. He's got a man driving the net, decides to shoot it, goes wide of the cage. Nenevisa hustles over to keep it in. Temporarily, though, as it comes back to center red, to the stick of Connor Wilson. Curl move around one man. Can't make the second man miss, though, as Easton Borman brings it in ahead of the play. For the Pens Elite, offsides is the call. 11:31 to go in the second period. 2-1 remains the score here from Detroit, Michigan. Blake Parrish will play this back to Welch. Welch is going to snap it in deep. Ferguson tries to get to this puck first, comes all the way around the cage out to the other side, where it's put up the half wall to the Surf. Poked off of a stick blade by Blake Parrish. Played high to Nico Stark. Stark's going to shoot this glove down by 71. Welch is going to poke this along further to try and keep it in. Gorski digging for it to try and maintain offensive control. Now it's thrown behind Nico Stark. Welch has to go back for this puck. And he will curl behind Dragicic on his backhand. Plays it up to Gorski. Welch puts it now over to his D partner, number 7, Nico Stark. Stark right up to Parrish. Parrish, one-touch pass for Fergie. Puck is rolling, though, right now in the neutral zone. Now settles down into the Florida Surf zone on the half wall. Parrish gets to that puck first, fights off his man. It's going to make it on the net. It's Gorski. Tries to hit Brooksy with it. It's behind the Surf cage. Penn's able to complete some personnel changes in the meantime. As one of those fresh bodies, Nick Parrish will dump it in deep, where Bingham Green goes in on the forecheck with 10:18 to go in the second period. Green pokes it. He's got a man driving the cage. Right now, Mason Fritchie comes in to help out, where Boutros will put it up off the dasherboard into the Penguins bench, where assistant coach Ian Ferguson with the assist, tossing the puck back onto the playing surface here from the Belfort Training Center. 10:05 to play. Offensive zone faceoff coming up to the left side of the Surf netminder. Fritchie will take the draw up front with Green and Jennings. 77 throws it behind the cage. On the other side is 88. Boutros tries to hit Landrum in flight, where Nenevisa gets to him. Now peeling off is Grant Loya to contest Landrum. Following on is Mason Fritchie, or Nenevisa. He's tied up behind the cage by number 8. Fritchie on to help. Green with a good stick lift as he hits Nick Jennings. Good defensive play there by 19. Now the puck carrier, 19. Staying on sides with Mason Fritchie. Goes to the bench. Man going to the cage. It's Grant Loya. Doesn't quite get through to Grant. Off the stick blade of Green now to Connor Wilson. Wilson controls. Wilson. High in the zone. Makes a couple guys miss. Goes off of a bunch of stick blades. Now back to center where Welch plays it to Grant Loya. All the way through, freshly off the bench is Colt Davis. He tries a curl move. That's knocked off of his stick blade. Where Ralph will try Brady Fritchie. Fritchie wins that puck battle. Takes it behind the cage where he's confronted by Boutros. Now it's behind the net. Welch will go back for this puck as he stops up. Reverses it back out the other side to Brady Fritchie. To number 11, Colt Davis. Has Connor Wilson's got a man, tries to move it to Borman, does hit it to Borman. Borman tried to elevate that puck off his backhand, just couldn't get good wood on it. Now top of the circle or top of the zone, it's Brady Fritchie. To Colt Davis, he's bumped into. As Welch will try to force his man to dump it deep. Icing is waved off here as man hits center red. As Borman puts it into space, man falls down. Hits Colt Davis. Davis floats it through. Offsides though, just a little bit ahead of the play was 74 Easton Borman. Score remains 2-1. Pens trying to catch a break there as the Florida Surf defender fell down. And the Pens had numbers. Pens with several scoring chances. Surf wind is back into their own zone as we're under 8 to play, approaching the midpoint of game number 1 of this Detroit showcase. Grant Loya behind Dragosic. Rolls off of his stick blade to the stick blade of 71. Into the soft spot was number 18. Good back check by Paris. Fanning on the slap shot was the Surf defender. Loya throws it behind the cage to number 7, Nico Stark. Stark up to Paris. Paris one-touch pass into space for Gaworski. 2-on-1 develops. Ferguson's going with him. Brooksy Gaworski with the finesse move. Brooksy to Fergie. And the quality save there off the glove of the Surf netminders. Had to play strong to keep this a 2-1 game. As Paris snaps in a shot. Goes off the skates of a few Surf players. Back to neutral, or it's behind Grant Loya. Finding it as though is number 7, Nico Stark. Plays it up to Ferguson. Ferguson. Another 2-on-1. Ferguson walks in. Snaps in the shot. Dives down into the crease. Put back into the goalie's equipment by 16 Landrum. The Pens buzzing like bees around a hive right now. Under 7 to go. 6:57 to be exact. 2-1's the score. Offensive zone. Face-off will be taken by number 4. Mason Fritchie's on with Jennings and Green. Backside, Fritchie and Nenavisa. Green. Off the one draw to Nenavisa. Nenavisa to Brady Fritchie. Fritchie tries to push it down the wall as he's contested by the Florida Surf winger. Fritchie finds this puck. But it's thrown back to center. Good back check again to intercept that pass by Bingham Green. It's Boutros at the red line. As the Pens going to be shorthanded for the first time today. As Mason Fritchie got a stick into the feet of a Florida Surf defender. And the Pens will go to the box with 6:25 to go in the second period. Fritchie on for the tripping call. So a minute 30 penalty will go up on the board. And we're back in our defensive zone to the left of number 29, Max Dragosic. It's won cleanly to 77. 77 snaps in a right pad save there by number 29, Max Dragosic. Wilson up to Paris. Paris puts it into space in front of the Penguins bench. 77 gets back to try and move this ahead where Blake Paris tries to contest with 1:09 now on the Mason Fritchie minor penalty. Boutros has it at the top of the circle. Contested, snaps in a shot. Glove down by Dragosic. as 30 seconds tick off the penalty. Penn still shorthanded. Another face-off to the left of Dragosic. This time will be taken by 25. Blake Parrish, he wins it back to Nico Stark. Stark bumps it along further. Welch reverses back to Nico Stark. Parrish trying to harass 25 and does get it back to neutral as he's interfered with. As Blake Parrish gets the interference call. Working hard, churning the feet. And that'll do it for the Florida Surf power play as he had 25. Hung out to try. Hobbs, unsure what to do. It looked like got his body into number 25, Blake Parrish. As the Pens will skate 4-on-4 for the next 45 seconds before having a abbreviated power play. 5:39 to play in the second period. Offensive zone faceoff. Ferguson goes forward with it. 48. Bumps it up to 16. Thrown in on the stick of the netminder. Welch. He'll be harassed behind the cage by 71. Plays it up to Borman. Borman to Ferguson. Ferguson makes the first man miss. 48. He's coming in though. 1-on-4. He's got a back checker. Ferguson peels to the center. Ferguson on the backhand. Floats it in. Up over the shoulder and onto the top of the cage. As Riker Ferguson creating something there. Off of the 4-on-4. 5:12 to play. Another offensive zone faceoff. 18 seconds. Mason Fritchie will be jettisoned from the penalty box. Ferguson. He's up front with Borman. It's one to the wall. But Florida Surf will pick it up. As Stark and Ferguson on the back check. Snapped in off the left toe of Dragosic. Finding this puck is Welch. Welch now is going to skate this. He's going to drive the play. Welch is going to stop up high. Goes to Borman. Borman snaps it in. Off the right pad. As the Pens are on a power play for the next 35. As 88 lumbers through. Boutros gets around Ferguson. Pens have a power play, but in our own D zone right now with 23 to go. On the minor to 25 Hobbs. Ferguson crashes into his man. As the Pens have enough time for one more rush, Easton Borman's going to try and lead it. As he gets around 48. He's got Nenevisa and Wilson going to the cage. 5 to go on the Pens power play. And again, an abbreviated one as Pens have to be careful. Back to 5-on-5 action. Man out of the box for the Surf. Tried to hit. Get back into the play, but it's Easton Borman. Takes it behind the cage. Easton Borman in his office. Puts it out front to Mason Fritchie. Borman to Fritchie. For the Pens' third goal of the game. Mason Fritchie gets his second goal of the game for the Pens Elite. Just as the penalty expired, Borman took that pass from Loya, streamed behind the Surf netminder, put it out in front, right to the tape of number 4, Mason Fritchie. And it's a 3-1 game with 3:55 to go in the second period. As both teams 0 for 1 on the power play, but the Pens get the even strength goal from number 4 off the stick blade of 74 and 43. Blake Parrish. He stops up top of the circle. Dumps it in deep. Or Mason Fritchie. Contests with 77. Throwing up the half wall to 71. Crashing into the wall was Blake Parrish. Snapped in on net off the stick of Grant Loya. Rebound pops out as Mason Fritchie was looking for another one there with 3:30 to go in the second period. Thanks for joining us, Cine TV, coming to you live from Detroit, Michigan, Little Caesars Arena from the Belfour Training Center, the home of the Detroit Red Wings. High off the glass. It comes from CJ Nenevisa. It's behind the cage to Blake Parrish. Where number 8 has it, and he'll try and exit the zone. Good back check from Ferguson. Ferguson gets through a couple guys, takes a slash, moves it forward to Gaworski. Gaworski muscles it to Riker Ferguson now. He gets around a couple of guys. Riker Ferguson with that magnet on his stick again. Ferguson dumps it, cycles it below to Nick Jennings, who tries to get to that. 77 cuts him off. For the Surf. trying to get out of their zone. Relentless pressure, though, by 93 Riker Ferguson. Finally, at the serve, able to bring it back. Welch puts this into space over to Bingham Green. Green tried to hit Jennings. We're 25. Hobbs will go to this puck with 2:33 to go in the second period. Welch keeps us in the zone temporarily, though, as it's thrown all the way down the ice, but off the stick blade of Connor Wilson, where Wilson comes out the other side. Wilson on his backhand hits Bingham Green. One-on-one. Bingham Green's going to snap it in on net off the right pad of the netminder. Penn's changing up some personnel right now. Jennings, confident play there to put it up to number 7, Nico Stark. Jennings will go to the bench. Wilson to Brady Fritchie, snapped in. Penn's a lot of shots so far today. Surf netminder played really, really well. Now played through to Borman. Off the pass from Wilson, misses the cage short side. Wilson tries to play it back to Stark. That's sticked away by Boutros. Stark up to Davis. 1:40 to play in the second period. Davis a little bit behind Borman. Almost created an opportunity. Good back check stick by Wilson as he was hitting the deck. Davis will put it in behind where Borman goes behind the cage to try to get to 48. One-touch pass attempt broken up by Fritchie and Stark. Now it goes off a stick blade where 28 tries to put it through the skates of Grant Loy. Loy shuts that down. The Surf are going to bring it in. They got a man driving the net back door, but Boutros held up on the wall. 28 at the top of the zone. Off the left skate of Borman. As the Pens have numbers 3-on-2, develops 4-on-2. Loy's going to join the rush along with Davis and Fritchie. As Fritchie controls on the half wall, the Surf are making a change there. So they may have a couple tired Pens, but right now in the offensive zone, Pens looking for something. Off the stick of Mason Fritchie, his stick's tied up. As the Surf bring it back in, 71 will try Nenevisa. Goes to his backhand, feathers it through, sticked away nicely by number 29, Max Dragosic. 33 to play in the second period. Penn with a 3-1 lead. 71 on the goal line. Ties up Mason Fritchie. Fritchie wins that battle, goes to Nenevisa. Nenevisa puts it into space. Gaworski's behind 77 as it's knocked off. His stick played at the last second. 14 to play in the second period. Boutros. Surf looking for a last second opportunity here as he comes in against Nenevisa. Goes through Nenevisa's legs. On the back check, it's going to be covered up as Boutros looked to get to that puck, but it was under the left paw of number 29, Max Dragosic. Skates out of his crease right now as he coolly settles things down for a D-zone draw with 5.4 to go in the period. Ferguson will take this against Landrum. Comes to the wall where that'll do it. As it's skated back to center by 25, Blake Paris. And we'll reset here for third period action. But after 2, it's your Pittsburgh Penguins Elite 3 and the Florida Surf 1. Period 3 action coming up in a few moments. Period 3 action set to get started as the Pens have a 3-1 lead off the stick blades 2 times by Mason Fritchie and once from number 13, Nick Jennings. 14 minutes on the clock. Riker Ferguson on for the draw. Up front with Paris and Gorski. Backside Stark and Welch. Man between the pipes. 29, Max Dragosic. Clock ticks here as third period action starts. Boutros brings it in. Long shot wide of the cage. We're 55. And Welch coalesce. But it's Landrum that gets to that puck. Tries to poke it as he was looking for a give and go move. Comes all the way through. As Blake Paris tries to get to that puck. Landrum looked for Boutros in the corner. That's read by Stark. Now it's behind Boutros. Landrum tries to work it further along. Backdoor. Shut down by the right pad of Dragosic. Or Welch behind the cage. Ties up Boutros. Allowing Riker Ferguson to get to this puck. He's going to curl out in front of his cage. Confident plays all day from 93, Riker Ferguson. Puts up ahead to Blake Paris, where it goes into the Florida Surf zone. Boutros, a lot of time and space right now in his own zone as the Pens are changing personnel. Good back check by Connor Wilson to pick the pocket at Landrum, but it's 71 that reverses course on him. Borman goes behind his own cage to Nico Stark. Stark floats it up to Wilson under his stick blade though. 12:39 to play in the third period. Welch is going to have to go back for this puck to tie up 71 as he holds it on the wall. Leaves it for Connor Wilson, now knocked far side to the stick blade of 28. Stark digs that puck out. Calmly moves it to Colt Davis. Skates it out of the zone. Pens are going to change their D as just ahead of the play was 74 Easton Borman. As a minute 45 is ticked off the third period clock. 12:15 is where we stand in the third period. Neutral zone face-off in front of the penalty box side. Again, under those Detroit Red Wings banners. Connor Wilson up front with Borman and Davis. One back to Loya. Loya tried to hit Davis, knocked off the stick blade of number 18. Correction, number 16, Landrum. Loya hit Borman, who dumps it in deep. Where Wilson tried to cycle back to Borman a little bit too far, though. Davis gets to that puck. Moves it to Borman. It's got a man far side. It's Nenavisa. Goes to CJ. CJ plays it. It's off the stick blade of Loya. Boutros is going to try and jump this. But he's ahead of the play, though, offsides. As that play was developing for a potential breakaway by number 88, Boutros. Instead, it's a offsides call. And we'll meet at center red, Fritchie and Landrum. Jennings, Green, Loya, and Nenavisa compete the 5-man unit. One back by Landrum, where it's touched up ahead to Boutros. Dumps it in. He goes for a change. Does 88. Where Loya off his backhand and rolls out dangerously in front of the net, where it's found by Nenavisa. He's got a back checker on him. He's going to poke it up over the glass. Off the net, it looks like it comes back down into play. Where Landrum finds this puck, goes back door. The right toe stretching out to shut that down was Dragosic. Still in the offensive zone for the Surf, though. But Bingham Green off his backside looks to get this deep. Penn's able to change up their D. Mason Fritchie follows on. Put back into the neutral zone where the Surf come out 2-on-2. It's put wide to Landrum. Welch knocks it off of his stick blade back to the point, where Nick Jennings tries to force it along further. It's Landrum. Tries to move it along. Sticked away out of danger by Dragosic. Now skated out of danger by number 9, Brady Fritchie. Fritchie, the C's part for him as he's pulled down. And the Pens are going to go back to the power play here in the third period with 10:39 to go. Brady Fritchie starts the train the other way, and number 48 got the stick into his skate blades. And he'll go to the box for a minute 30 tripping penalty. Pens to the offensive zone face-off. 10:39 to play to the right side of the Florida Surf netminder. Played really well so far today. have both netminders. Ferguson on for the draw here on the PP. Where it's one back to 25. Hobbs is going to put it off the glass, where Welch unable to keep it in the offensive zone. But it comes now to number 9, Brady Fritchie. Pens look to regain control. Played over to Welch. He's going to curl around one man. Puts it up off the stick of Brady Fritchie. Where 77, Ralph, goes back for it. He's contested by Ferguson to the half wall. Into space, but picked off by Blake Parrish. Parrish changes places with Gaworski. Gaworski, top of the circle, shot down. It's on the ice, though. Sticked away by Ralph. Try to split the defense. They're going to dump it deep. We're going back for this is Brady Fritchie. Goes behind the cage and behind Dragosic. Played over to Welch. Welch to Ferguson now. Pens in flight. Ferguson enters the offensive zone. Knocked off of his stick blade. Thrown in. It should be an icing call, but it's going to be waved off as the Pens try to dummy that one to try and buy it. 30 seconds to go in the power play before 48 is sprung. Wilson comes in. Pens have a 3-on-2. Fritchie's going to drive the net. Just ahead was the puck as Wilson tried to find Mason Fritchie. Loya protects on his backside. Leaves it for Borman. Cycles it up the wall. Borman at the top of the circle. Peels off. Borman snaps it in. No rebound as the Surf goalie swallows that up with 9:19 to go in the third period. 11 to go on the Pens power play. Before 48 will be sprung from the penalty box. Mason Fritchie will take this draw, flanked by Borman and Wilson. Stark and Loya on with him. To the right side of the Surf netminder, it's Fritchie that steps in. He digs this out, leaves it for Borman. Borman to the point man, Grant Loya. Loya snaps it in on net. Off the stick blade! Mason Fritchie may have been deflected, but Loya is going to get credit for this goal. Grant Loya with the PPG for PPE with 9:13 to go. Grant Loya gets the goal. Traffic in front. Loya's get that kid a wing. Grant Loya gets the goal to make it a 4-1 game. Could have deflected off of the defender. Nonetheless, Grant Loya sees his teammate Connor Wilson now coming in the offensive zone along with Mason Fritchie. Wilson finds this puck. Centering pass. Comes through to number 4, Mason Fritchie. Fritchie peels off. He's knocked to the ice surface. Landrum goes down as well. Now Connor Wilson's taken down. Borman has it short side. Tries to come out. Knocked off of his stick blade. 2-on-2. Boutros will try. Nico Stark put through his legs. Grant Loya in the back check. Snapped in. About a foot wide of the net, though. Comes all the way through. It's a clearing pass for the Pens as Connor Wilson drags around one man. He's coming in 1-on-4. Puts it into space as the Pens are changing behind the play. Wilson snaps it in almost through the pillows of the netminder. That's shut down. We're back to the blue line. Come the Surf. Stepping to this puck, number 9, Brady Fritchie, the right-handed smooth skating defenseman. Off the shin guard of 77. Where Boutros, he's got a couple of, 28, similar bodied player. Sees his shot swallowed up by number 29, Max Dragosic, with 8:03 to play. D-zone draw coming up. High viewership on the broadcast today. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon, wherever you may be. Thanks for making part of your afternoon part of Pittsburgh Penguins Elite Hockey as it's shot in from the point behind the cage. 28 picks it out, dangerous in front. It's under Dragosic right now as 71 is put onto the pillows of Max Dragosic. Dragosic says no yet again, as he found that it was in between his legs and closed the pillows to swallow it up underneath him. Under 8 to play, 7:54, another D-zone draw to be taken by Riker Ferguson. Green looks to get to the puck. Nenavisa plays it to Brady Fritchie, number 9. Fritchie up ahead to Colt Davis. Green has it, looks to get it deep, off the right pad of the netminder. Green puts it right back in off the netminder, but he had the post sealed up there with the big right pad. Davis Tries to get to that puck, thrown all the way down the ice for an icing call. As Nenevisa was going back to touch up, 7:25 to go. Offensive zone face-off. Now to the right side of the Surf netminder coming up. Will be taken by number 4, Mason Fritchie, I believe, who will be flanked by Blake Paris and Brooks Gaworski. Stark and Welch on with them. Officials get the boys set. Fritchie wins this draw back. It comes to Stark. It's put across to Welch. Welch is going to put this right back down deep. As the Surf were looking to jump that one. Instead, Brooksy Gaworski leaves it for Mason Fritchie. Thought about trying another Mishi as he had it rolling up on his stick for a moment. But Blake Paris peels off nicely. Paris, top of the circle, floats it through. Looking for a deflection by Mason Fritchie. Gets through to the right pillar of the Surf netminder. Blake Paris holds it in nicely again. Where 48 has it behind the cage. Plays it up off the wall where Welch is going to try and jump in. Put around his stick. But covering back was 25 Blake Paris. Now it's Welch. Skates to stick. It's put right back through the skate blades of number 14 Welch. Under 7 to play. 6:40 as Nico Stark dumps it in deep. Trying to hold the line was Mason Fritchie. But a good sequence there to keep the Surf hemmed up in their defensive zone. Neutral zone face-off with 6:37 to play. Personnel changes up front and on the backside for the Pens Elite. The boys wearing white today. Number 8 Connor Wilson up front with Borman and Jennings. Backside, the puck carrier now, Nenevisa and Grant Loya. It's played up to Jennings. Jennings sees this go off the shin guard of Wilson back into the Penguin zone. Borman has to hustle back for it as breathing down his neck is number 28. Loya calmly picks it up. It's off the body of Boutros. Landrum follows on, but Connor Wilson, he's got a step. He's got Borman going with him too. Going to the net is Easton Borman. Shot short side by Wilson. It's blocked away where it becomes a 3-on-2 for the Surf as Landrum walks in. Blocker down by Dragicic. From his knees right now is Nenevisa. Plays it over to 16 Landrum. Landrum tried to have Boutros. Has a couple boys digging for this puck. It's in the crease right now where Jennings and Boutros mix it up. Let each other smell each other's gloves there for a moment. D-zone draw to the right side of Dragicic. 5:47 on the clock. The Belfour Training Center in the Little Caesars Arena, Detroit, Michigan. Pens will be back in action later today with a 7 p.m. matchup against the Chicago Fury. Just as the Detroit Pistons will be tipping off at the same time. So if anybody can't get their Pistons tickets, be sure to come on over to watch the boys in black and gold for game number 2. CJ Nenevisa gets to this puck. Off the wall to Green. Green dumps it in deep to make the Surf go 200 feet. 48 bumps it further. Where it's off the backside of the Surf. Turned over to Davis. Davis sees this knocked off of his stick blade. That's 89. Puts us up 71. Tries to work around Loya. We're at the dot. It's snapped into the glove and out of the glove of Dragicic. Dragicic with another strong save for the Pens Elite to allow them to maintain the lead. It's under the stick blade of Ferguson. He peels off to go to the bench. Pens are changing behind the play. Allows the Florida Surf to get control where Landrum will try Welch. Welch is going to harass him. Following on are a couple of guys, including number 4, Mason Fritchie. As things are kept to the outside with 4:34 to go. Now top of the circle is Boutros. He'll try to curl around everybody. Sticked away by Borman nicely. Where Fritchie finds this puck. It's in his skates. He's going to skate it, dump it deep, and go to work behind 25 Hobbs. As it's thrown all the way through to Loya. Loya snaps it off the mask. Should be a high stick on the puck, and it is. As sticking that down out of danger was Landrum. create another offensive zone faceoff with 4:08 to play here from the Little Caesars Arena, the Belfort Training Center. Again to the right side of the Surf netminder. Connor Wilson, Borman, Mason Fritchie, Nico Stark, Grant Loya. Landrum wins this back. Hobbs behind the cage, thrown all the way down the ice. Not sure if this has the juice for icing as it's waved off. Nico Stark. That's 55. Tries to hunt him down. Stark moves it for Loya. Loya has to hustle to get up for this puck. Stepping in this puck, though, is 25 Hobbs. Good stick by number 7, Nico Stark, to shut down that opportunity. 2-on-1 develops. Wilson, he's going to curl it in. He's got Fritchie going with him to the cage. Rolls through everybody. As it's thrown back to center red to the stick blade of Nico Stark. Stark to Loya now. Loya up to Wilson. Fritchie offsides, though. Neutral zone face-off far side. As the Pens Elite fans, the faithful here, offer some encouragement to the Pens Elite. Gorski peels that out of some traffic. Still looking for this puck as he's dumped. Gets behind Brady Fritchie on the back check, though, to clean things up. 25, Blake Parrish swings it wide to Nenevisa. Nenevisa reverses back nicely to Fritchie. Fritchie up to Gorski as the Pens look to get this deep. It's knocked off of Gorski's stick. Brady Fritchie gets to that puck. Nenevisa now behind his own net. Tries to reverse back, hits the deck. Puts it out the other side where the Surf are going to step to this puck to get to it. Wide open in front are the Surf. They snap it, goal. Is the Surf able to create a turnover with 2:43 to go to make this a 2-goal game with a lot of time to play. As Dragosic held the fort all day. He's played a really strong game. Just had a man wide open there, tucks it in, but the Pens still up 2 as they look to close things out here against the Florida Surf. Wilson on for the draw. Wilson wins it back to Welch. Welch over to Stark. Goes through him as Connor Wilson now gets to it. It's turned over to Landrum. He'll now try to split the defense. Goes out wide to Boutros. Boutros snaps it into the catching mitt. Calmly, coolly, and collected. Number 29, Max Dragosic, shuts things down. As 9 seconds tick off the game clock here. 2:30, another D-zone draw. We'll keep an eye on the Florida Surf netminder to see if he comes to the bench for the extra attacker. Landrum to take it. Boutros in a shooting position. As Wilson sets up Stark to get to Boutros. It is Stark. Plays it back into neutral. As the Pens look to get pucks deep, but it's the Boutros and the Surf. As Wilson tries a curl move in his own zone and gets around a couple guys. We're leading this is Connor Wilson. Another curl move. Connor Wilson snaps it in. Following on is Bingham Green. As it's thrown back out to Welch. Welch is going to snap this in on net as it dives down. Poked into space. Nick Jennings looking to get to this puck. Goes beyond the reach of Welch where Nico Stark has to go back to it. 1:49 to play here in the third period. Stark winds things up as he runs out of real estate, moves it to Nick Jennings. Pokes it along softly. No icing. Good play from number 13 there. As the Pens see Borman come off the bench as he digs for it. Bingham Green sees this go under his stick blade to number 28. Comes in 1-on-2. He's got a trail on number 8. Snap down. Blocker down by Dragosic. Where Nenevisa deflects off of his stick blade here to the near side with 1:20 to play in the third period. Nenevisa up off the glass to Borman. Borman, hard work there from 74 to put this back to neutral. 25 Hobbs. It goes to the backhand of Loya. It's under him. 2-on-1 develops. Nenevisa's back. Good stick from Loya there off the right pad of Dragosic. Under 1 to play. Clock is ticking. Wilson catches a break as he was content to take the icing call to get a change of troops. Goes off the high stick of 77 Ralph. Offensive zone face-off coming up. It did not look like the Surf netminder was heading to the bench there. Instead, it remains 5-on-5 action, especially here deep in the Florida Surf zone on the left side of the netminder. Landrum steps in against Fritchie. 54 seconds and ticking. Fritchie plays it back to Grant Loya. Loya all the way across to Nenavisa. Nenavisa snaps it low. Smart play by 77 Nenavisa. Takes some more time off the clock, but it will be Boutros on the half wall that gets to that puck. Floats it into space as looking to jump this for the Surf. Nenavisa over to Loya. Loya dumps it right back in where the Pens go on the forecheck with 33 to go in the third period. Mason Fritchie tries to push this along to Riker Ferguson and does. As the Pens trying to tie this up on the wall. Skating off the wall now is Boutros. As Ferguson, heavy on the back check. Put into space to 71, trying to catch up to this puck. And it's behind the cage. Give and go move, looking for Landrum. As digging this out will be number 93, Riker Ferguson. Is going to skate this out of danger. And Borman's going to skate this in one last time to the offensive zone. And the Pittsburgh Penguins lead are going to skate away with the victory. A 4-2 final. In game number 1 of the Detroit Showcase, the final score, your Pittsburgh Penguins lead 4 and the Florida Surf 2. Thanks for joining us here. The boys will be back in action for game number 2 later tonight from this same arena complex. But the final score in game number 1, Pens lead 4, the Florida Surf 2.